This is the story of Gannon Stauch, who was stuffed in a suitcase and dropped 1,400 miles from home.
Wanting to go play with his friend, and he didn't come back.
At first, we had heard rumors this boy could have been a runaway.
On January 27, 2020, panic spread through the small community of Colorado Springs as a desperate stepmother reported her 11-year-old Gannon Stauch missing.
My son was supposed to be home at 6 o'clock, and it's almost 7. He's only 11.
At first, many were under the impression Gannon would turn up eventually. Little did they know his disappearance would turn into one of the most harrowing cases of the century. This is the story of Gannon Stauch, who was stuffed in a suitcase and dropped 1,400 miles from home. On a fateful day in January, 6 months before the pandemic swept across the world, El Paso County Sheriff's Office received a disturbing call from Leticia Stauch.
What's his name? Gannon.
He didn't come back at 6, so we drive to the neighbor's house, and they're like, no, he's not here.
The big deal here is he's a homebody. He would rather be at home playing his little Nintendo or, watching cartoons, so he's not one just to walk off. He told her he was going to play, which they do all the time. Maybe he's 10 minutes late, but nothing like this.
Her stepson Gannon was nowhere to be found. According to her, he left home sometime between 3:15 p.m. and 4 p.m. to go to his friend's house, but never showed up. Just what could have happened to Gannon while walking down streets he had known for years? At first, authorities took the case lightly, classifying it as a juvenile runaway case. However, after 3 days, authorities still couldn't find any trace of the kid. Concern quickly turned into panic, forcing authorities to open a missing persons case. In most cases like these, the chances of tracking down the kids significantly go down after 24 hours. And just like that became a race against time. Every second counted, and so the cavalry was called, including the FBI Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the Colorado Springs Police Department, all to track down Gannon. Together, everyone worked tirelessly.
Hey, can we come in?
Hours later, police arrive at the Stauch's home to talk to Leticia, her daughter Harley, and Gannon's sister Lena, while Albert, Gannon's body,
to track down Stauch, using every resource in their arsenal including drones, dogs, helicopters, and horses. No stone was left unturned. Meanwhile, Gannon's parents grew restless. Their days and nights blended into one as the anxiety consumed them. Where was their son? This was the first question that lingered on everyone's minds. Yet, beneath the surface, a more sinister question sat on everyone's tongues that few dared to ask. Was Gannon even alive? With each passing day,
through Sunday into Monday, and be as detailed as possible.
Sunday, Gannon had started a candle. The fire thing went off. It started saying fire, 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 fire.
Tensions built up, and with all trails running cold, the authorities were forced to approach the situation from a different angle. It was no longer a kidnapping case, but a murder case, and the number one suspect was Gannon's own stepmother. Just what led the police to suspect Leticia Stauch?
Honestly, we were gonna fix the carpet and try to not say anything. Albert freaks out about every little thing. Floor over here, then on the sofa. There was covers everywhere. I take a whole bunch of them and I go and basically smash down on the sofa and the fire to put it out.
Why would I hurt our child? I had everything in the world. Why? I have no motive. I don't know what Gannon is.
You do. If you would have told police the very first night that he was taken forcibly, everything would have been different. If you can point me to a different person, then I can help you. If you trusted me to talk to me, you would tell me where Gannon is right now.
Well, there were a lot of red flags that the police caught on to. For starters, Leticia was the last person to see Gannon alive. However, what really clued in the authorities was her incoherent version of events.
So we were going to get your... Look, how do we get your bike? I was like, get it right.
On the day she reported Gannon missing to the police, Leticia called up his real father and told him an assailant had broken into her house and sexually assaulted her.
Howard, they're gonna kill me!
Who is they? These are the questions I need to know.
He first told me his name was Eduardo, but it's not. It's Quincy Brown.
However, when asked to present evidence, she said she cleaned up the place. In another jarring twist, the stepmom claimed she drove around the community with Gannon, who was sick that day. However, when police looked through footage to verify her story, they found that Leticia had left her home around 10:15 a.m. and returned around 2:19 a.m. in a rented car. So, with all the pieces lined up, the police had enough evidence to put Leticia behind bars.
Something bad happened in his room.
Leticia Stauch was arrested for first-degree murder of a child by a person in a position of trust, tampering with the deceased human body,
point me to a different person, then I can help you.
Child abuse resulting in death, and tampering with physical evidence on March 2, 2020. However, one piece of the puzzle was still missing. Where was Gannon, and what exactly had Leticia done with him? As fate would have, authorities were forced to deliver heartbreaking news to Gannon's parents a few days following her arrest on March 17, 2020. The poor boy's remains were discovered by a maintenance worker at Escambia Bay Bridge in Pace, Florida.
The bridge next to Escambia County line, and reference the suitcase.
It was
almost 1,300 miles away from his home. His body was stuffed in a suitcase, hinting at a gruesome end for the innocent soul. Police were also able to identify Gannon's bloodstains on one of Leticia's shoes. What's more, her DNA was found on the murder weapon. Police were also able to place her where Gannon's body was discovered, using the location data from the rented van. With the truth laid bare, the community struggled to wrap their heads around the brutal tragedy. However, the authorities had no time to grieve, as there were more pressing matters. Just how did Gannon end up so far away from home? And how exactly did he meet this dreadful end? According to reports, Leticia mercilessly shot her own son in his bedroom, a place where he was supposed to feel safe. Police also discovered 18 stab wounds and blunt force trauma to the head. Once she had carried out her horrifying actions, Stauch proceeded to clean up the crime scene and stuffed Gannon's body in a suitcase. In light of the mounting evidence stacked against her, Leticia's fate seemed sealed, yet she still tried to take the easy way out.
What murder?
Gannon Stauch.
So Gannon is murdered.
That's what the evidence shows.
Okay.
She pleaded not guilty, finding sanctuary under a false claim of insanity owing to a dissociative identity disorder due to childhood trauma. However, Leticia's desperate attempts to sway the court's opinion proved to be all in vain. Her trial concluded on May 8, 2023, with the jury refusing to buy into Leticia's insanity defense. Instead, she was found guilty on all charges. As for why Leticia chose to claim the life of her stepson in such a horrific way, well, prosecutors believe she felt like she was forced to perform unpaid labor, looking after Gannon.
Your conduct in this case deserves the maximum punishment. I remand you to the custody of the Colorado Department of Corrections for the remainder of your life with no possibility of parole.
She was sentenced to life in prison without parole plus 156 years by Judge Gregory Werner, a fitting punishment for a woman who had taken a life in the most brutal way imaginable. Though Leticia may have gotten what she deserved, the truth is she left a gaping hole in the lives of a family, one that might never be filled. Do you think justice was served? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, turn the bell notifications on, and subscribe for more.